Good afternoon. Welcome to Series 1 class. As we all know, Series 1 centers on Old Testament. And as also discussed in our previous class, particularly in Series 2, where we discuss canonization of the New Testament. So this afternoon we'll be looking at the canonization of the Old Testament. So the first thing we want to look at is the origin of the word canon. Then we'll be looking at the stages of the Old Testament. Then we'll be looking at the criteria for the Old Testament. The word canon is derived from a Greek word called canon. So canon simply means rule or standard. So in our last class under the series 2, we said that the word canon has primary definition and also has secondary definition. By its primary definition, it means rule or standard or law that is used in accepting write-ups into the scripture or the Bible. Then the secondary definition of canon, as we said in Series 2, is that canon means the list of books that has been canonized. That is the collection of books into the scripture that has been accepted into the scripture or into the Bible. So we discuss this. Then the stages of the Old Testament. We have three stages. Three stages of the Old Testament, and they are we have what we call Torah. Torah simply means law. So the Torah was the first stage of the Old Testament, and this Torah or law was the first phase of the Old Testament. However, they are the first 5 books written by Moses. Torah became part of the scripture at the end of the Babylonian era. At the end of the Babylonian era, that's when Torah became part of the scripture or Old Testament. Then the second is what we call Nebiim. Nebiim is known as prophets. That is the book of the prophets. That is the Nebiim. The Nebiim came into the scripture in the 10th century. That's about 2000 BC, before Christ was given birth to. That is when the book of prophets was written. Then under this Nebiim, we have the major prophets and we have the minor prophets. And where we derive the major prophet from and the minor prophet from is what we call the later prophets. We have the former prophet and we have the later prophet. So the minor prophet and major prophet were under what we call the later prophet. So we'll be looking at the division of books of the Old Testament, particularly under the literature of the Old Testament. So we're going to discuss all this. Then the third stage of the Old Testament is what we call Ketubim. 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 The Ketubim simply means writings. Writings. So these are the book of writings or write-ups that concern different historical analogy of the part of the Old Testament or of the Old Testament. So we have these 3 stages of the Old Testament or division of the books of the Old Testament. Because the total number of books we have in the Old Testament, they are 39 books. 39 books in the Old Testament. So these 39 books were stratified into these 3 divisions or 3 stages. Then the criteria for the Old Testament, that is the next you want to look at. The first is the question of inspiration. So, as we said, that inspiration was given to the authors of the Bible by God. So, is to test if this book were inspired by God. So, books that are canonized are said to be inspired by God. That is the question of inspiration into the Bible. That was the question of inspiration into the Bible. Then the second criteria is what we call principle of internal evidence. Principle of internal evidence. That is, these write-ups must have some megalomaniac impacts in the life of the readers. So it has to affect the internal life, the spiritual life of the readers. Then the third one is what we call principle of external evidence. We find this when the children of Israelites realized the reason why they were in Babylon and the reason why they were in captivity. So write-ups in the Bible must be reawakening write-up that will enable the readers to realize their position or the reason why certain things happens to them. So that is what happened to the children of Israelites. And they ought to do, they immediately, when they realized this, they cried out or they yelled out to God, and God hearkened to their voice and came to rescue them. Then the fourth one is quotation or documentation for quotation. This means that write-up that must be canonized must be able or worth quoting. And that is what happened to Jesus Christ. All the answer that Jesus Christ gave to devil when he was tempted, they were all quoted from the Old Testament. That means, so that shows that there's a close affinity between the write-ups that were canonized in the New Testament and the write-ups that are canonized in the Old Testament. So Bible passages was worth quoting, and Jesus Christ set down this standard for quotation. So these are the criteria for accepting write-ups into the Bible. So in our next class, we'll be looking at literature of the Bible. Thank you.